Hey class, it's Mr. Dow. I just wanted to kind of run through another screencast with you. This one specifically about how to find resources for the next paper we're going to write, which is still about hoop dreams, but focusing on some social issues that are connected to hoop dreams. I made a list of 4 different social issues and questions related to those issues, and I wanted you to kind of pick one question that interested you, and then basically just explore the question, get information, and then from that information develop a thesis. So you might not have a thesis going into the research, but you should have a general idea what to research. You can research on the internet. You can use Google or something like that, or you could use the Citrus College Library databases. All colleges have these databases, and there are some advantages to doing that, and that's really the purpose of this screencast. So I'm going to go to the library, take a look at the library homepage. Here we are. These databases, which here at our library are listed right there, these databases are we pay money to the database services to guarantee that the sources we find in these databases have been published before, are authorized, have been peer-reviewed. In other words, they're legitimate sources, and there's no question about them. If you find something here, you can use it in your research paper. One thing I would recommend is that you definitely get a My Library account before doing this, just because that allows you to do all the research at home as opposed to having to actually be on campus. Maybe you've already done that. So let's take a look at the databases, though, and then talk about how to use them. We have so many that we get at Citrus College. I think it's pretty typical for most schools. We've alphabetized them. They are pretty, a lot of them are very specialized. I hear all health. That's just about health. Business Source Elite is about business. I'm going to use a very general one to start with. I'll start this Academic Search Complete. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this. Just want to sort of show you how to work on it. But this was a very basic one. Like it says here, it's multidisciplinary database, academic publications, including peer-reviewed journals. That's kind of the kind of stuff I want. So that might help. I will take a look at here what's been collected here to see if I can find something relevant. Now, just for the sense purposes of doing a sample paper, I'm going to focus on how poverty affects public education, and hopefully how it affects public education in Chicago. That was something that is definitely dealt with in Hoop Dreams, kind of indirectly. And I think if I get enough basic background information, I can develop a decent thesis out of that. So now, how to find that information? Well, you want to be kind of open-minded about using the search box here, and sometimes you might have to use a second field. There are ways to limit your search. Right now, we're on Boolean phrase. It's going to be a wide open search, just like you would have on Google. If it doesn't work the first time, keep going, because there are definitely thousands and thousands of articles here. So there is stuff for you. I think what I tried different things here last time. One thing I did was poverty and education, very broad there, and then I decided to also narrow it down to public schools in Chicago. I did that because, having done this once before, poverty education was such a gigantic title that I started getting lots and lots of articles. They were about conditions in South Africa, or conditions in Tennessee, and I thought, okay, I need at least limit it to the United States. I tried that, but Chicago turned out to actually bring me some articles. So let's take a look at what comes up here. I want to show you a couple things. So let's see what I got here. Something low-level lead toxicity. That is not helpful. I'm going to basically scan through a few titles. You see, there's only 11 to work with here, and see if I can find anything that's really going to help. I read through this. It's basically an editorial. They say they have to do better. This is better for me. Early childhood poverty and adult achievement, employment, and health. Now, this appeared in something called I don't have it listed here, but I can get the basic idea of what's happening here. I'll just click on it. Let's see what's happening here. Early childhood development, poverty, health. Okay, presented on the employment, academic achievement, health of children living in poor families in the United States. That sounds like a good basic bit of background where I might be able to get some data that I can eventually use for building a case and whatever this essay is going to be. So I'm going to look at the PDF text version of this. And I'm doing this basically just to show you a couple things. So scanning through this article, it appeared in some journal called Family Matters in 2013. I think I've got a pretty good article here, like a very base. I've got these graphs. They do go back a ways. Good. This is good. I think this is kind of the thing I want, just to get some basic understanding about. Excuse me. I'm leaving that in. Just to get some basic understanding of poverty and education in the United States. This might help me to formulate things. I want you to notice this. I want you to notice that you can do various things here with this source. I can email this source to myself. Often there's a way to take notes on the source. I'm not getting these tools to come up. Let's see what's happening. This is my email tool. Okay, that helps, saves me from having to print it from the library. I could put it in a folder here. Let's see. Oh, I can cite it. That's the one thing I wanted you to be aware of. Here's another major advantage of taking sources from the school databases. We use MLA citation. Here is the MLA citation exactly as it should appear on the Works Cited page if I use this article. Doing an MLA citation, if you don't have one done for you, can be kind of difficult if you're just using the World Wide Web. So don't discount this. That's a decent article. I think I can definitely use this one, get something out of it. Next step would be I would annotate it and et cetera, et cetera. Let's go back to the list of titles. Just again, I want to see if there's anything that jumps out immediately. Receiving care within a medical home. Injury in early childhood, mother's economic condition, source of support in fragile families, Chicago's first, how welfare reform is affecting a work. Well, not that much here on that's the one article I got that was pretty good. But again, a lot of that has to do with what I've put up here. So I'm not taking that long to do this. I did find one article. Ideally, what I want to do is get 2 or 3 or 4 articles I can look at, just pull facts and statistics out, build a picture in my mind that I could also use in the writing. Let's go back to the database page, and let's do one more database here. Like I said, a lot of these are perfectly good databases, kind of focused on different topics and different disciplines. I would also try the ebook collection. Not that I think you need to read an entire book, but you don't have to read the whole book. It'll get something helpful for you here. So let's see what I can do here. These are books that we have online here, and you can read them from right here. So let's check it out. I'm going to do also again. Poverty versus education. I'm going to limit it to, well, let's again, public schools in Chicago. Let's just see if that comes up. That would be super helpful if it did. All right. And I want to also show you what you can do with an ebook. I definitely found result earlier, so I've just done this wrong. All right. Poverty and education. I'll just do the United States then. All right. Let's go that. All right, that actually it's better. Do the United States. What is the story of poverty and education in the United States? Reading poverty in America, social class poverty and education. Well, this is exactly what I want. Poverty and schooling in the U.S. Context and consequences. I saw enough of this going on in Hoop Dreams that I do believe it was something important to the overall story. I think I can get a lot of basic background here. Let me show you how to work one of these. I will take a look at this one, Poverty and Schooling in the U.S., Contexts and Consequences. So as long as nobody else is using the book at the same time, it should be available to me. Here I got you see there's the title. I just want to point out there's ways to sort of shorten your search through here. I've got all of these chapter titles here, and I've got this tool here, Search Within. So let's say I want to look at I'm going to talk about the, let's see, demographics of poverty, the schooling of poor children, exactly what I want to talk about. There it is. I'll go right to that chapter. And there's the chapter. Now let's do this. Let's search within this. Actually, let's search within the entire book. I just want to show you have a very nice tool here. I would like to see the word Chicago. Let's see. Do you mention Chicago in this massive book? Yes. You mention it in all these chapters. Over here, tell them how many times it gets mentioned. And here is the chapter title. So, for example, in the demographics of poverty, how poverty can matter less in schooling, education reform, no guarantees. Oh, I don't know. Let's try this one, the savage funding and schooling. Below that, I've clicked on it. Below that, it tells you right here, it's mentioning the Chicago Tribune right there. That's interesting. I would like to see that page. Show it to me. Here it comes. I'm going to get the exact page. They should be highlighting this section right here. There it is, Chicago Tribune. And I can see, well, what did you say about it? Something went on with some sort of lawsuit. Well, how about here? Demographics of poverty. 40%. Oh, look at this. I've got children in Chicago. Amount. Let's see where that came from. So what I'm doing is basically I'm using this to direct myself through specific parts of the book. I mean, I would actually read more than just this, but it's nice to know that the city of Chicago is mentioned specifically in here in various ways. All right. So what we've basically done, just to summarize. I've looked at one database dealing with journals and articles, and one database dealing with books. And I'm just looking for information that can help me. I'm going to formulate a thesis next week. This week, I just want to know more about public school system, city of Chicago, and how poverty affects the education of a poor child. I think I already kind of have a basic idea how it does, but the more information I get from it, the easier it will be to actually decide how to come up with a thesis that connects me to Hoop Dreams. All right, that's all I'll do for right now. There's also information on this page that you're looking at this on about how to use Google if you're going to do the search. So check that next. Okay, keep going.